really excited about this recruiting class to finally get a chance to talk to you guys about some of the players, which, we technically can't do until they sign. And, you can look at any numbers, any ranking. We feel this is a great class. And I give credit to our staff, our football coaches, our support staff, the recruiting staff, Jason's staff. There's so much that goes into it. The faculty that help, the deans that help, Pat Kraft. It's just, I'm going to get credit for a good recruiting class, and I don't deserve it as much as those people, especially the coaches who are just spend countless hours developing relationships, talking on the phone, doing research. This class fits us. This is our first in-person recruiting class, which I know that sounds funny, but you guys just said it. I literally got hired almost a year ago from today, right, or yesterday, which gave me really no time to have a recruiting class. And we love those guys, we truly do, and they're playing really well for us. And then my first real recruiting class was done on Zoom, and I thought the staff did a great job. But this is the first time we got to sit down in living rooms. This is the first time we got to know the moms and the dads, or the uncles and the brothers and the sisters, and we got to form those relationships, which I think are so important to us. I think they're important to Boston College because you're looking for a special person. You win with people. I've said that since the day I've got here. I think this is a special group of people, and I could really sense that on the last recruiting trip. The parents getting along, feeling that we've known them forever now, really dialed in and knowing the people that we have coming in. I think we've brought in some people that are going to come and compete from various different states, from Australia, from Canada. BC's a national brand. I believe that. We believe that. And we feel we can go to California, and we did. We can go to Texas, and we did. But then most importantly, we stayed home. And I'm not going to be one of these guys that says, I'm going to fence this area. No, I'm not going to talk like that. I said when I got here that we were going to do our best to evaluate this state, and we did. And last year we kept the best player in the state home. And he had the opportunity to go to a lot of places, and I believe we did the same thing this year. In my opinion, we kept the best players home again for 2 years in the state of Massachusetts. And those players could have went to Notre Dame, those players could have went to Michigan, but they chose to stay here. And that's 2 years in a row that it shows that this is a place where we can get that done. So I'm really proud of the staff. I'm really proud of that. I'm excited to see these kids develop. I'm excited to get them here. So I'll answer any questions about these players that you have, and we'll take as much time.
One player from New Jersey, is that a record?
What do you mean, too little for you, Rich?
Yeah, it's too little. We get 6, 7 from New Jersey out of that Catholic powerhouses up there.
The one that we got, I think, is the best quarterback coming out of the state. Was highly recruited. Could have stayed home. Could have went to other places around the country, and he chose to come here. I'm not going to look at states and say we got to bring 5 from this state, 6 from that state. We want the best players, and that fit us. And if you look at this. Maryland, Massachusetts, Georgia, Tennessee, Australia, California, Canada, Florida, Louisiana, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Texas, Virginia. I think that's important for us right now in this age of recruiting. The other thing I'd like to say, and I've been honest with you guys the whole time, which I like to do is, I told you I didn't want to build this thing through the portal. We have 21 commits right now. We're not done. This class is not done. There's another signing period. There's other recruits that we're still on. So this is going to continue to grow, but I meant what I said. I think as I went around and visited a lot of these high schools right now, it's sad. There's not as many scholarships for high school players. Some schools are choosing to take 10 high school players and go out and sign 15 guys in the portal. And I don't, in all due respect to all those coaches doing it, good for them. I got nothing against that. But I do have against giving these high school kids an opportunity to go play football. I think that's sad. The development of high school players, the late developing high school player who now doesn't have a scholarship because he's competing with all these kids in the portal. It's sad because some kids are going to miss out on an opportunity, and some of those kids are the best developers. Some of those guys turn out to be the best ones. And I have some guys still playing in the NFL, and that kid right now might not have a chance. I want to develop this. I want to do it the right way. I want to build it over time. I want to be consistent. And yeah, I'm going to go into the portal here and there, but I just showed you by signing 21 players that I want to build this thing through recruiting and developing people and players so it lasts. It's going to be really hard to do it consistently if you're building it through the portal entirely. So all those high school players out there, just keep working hard. We're going to come recruit you, and I hope more people do so.
Jeff, could you tell us about the quarterback, though?
Yeah, really talented, big kid, tall. He's a wrestler, which is very rare. You know, he's got a really live body. So he's not going to be a guy that runs 4.4, but he's got a live body. He can move. He's mobile. He's got a big time arm, and he's going to be a big kid. Really big, really strong, wrestler, competitive, tough. He's got this quiet toughness about him. He's got a great presence about him. I think he's got a chance to be a really good football player. We had targeted him early on, and it was a fight, and we went out and we got it done. And I'm really happy with him. Quarterbacks, as you know, are important, and we feel now we have several really good ones in the program, which means we're going to have a bright future.
5 defensive linemen. A lot of those are guys that come off the edge. So what was that? Is that an emphasis for you guys, especially after this year?
I think it's been an emphasis the last 2 years. I think we brought in 12 or 11 defensive linemen in the last 2 classes. I'm a defensive guy. I think it starts up front. You can never have enough defensive linemen, and we need those edge rushers. Clive is one that just, I mean, we got some great ones. Clive Wilson at DN, 6'5", 245. He's probably going to be 265 before he even gets in here. I mean, super athlete. We saw him in a camp. I mean, this guy can rush, he can bend, he can jump, he can dunk. You got guys like Edwin. We feel so good. Gilbert. We got Quan. We got guys that can really rush the quarterback, and we're really excited about that. I think that's something that we're going to have to go out and get time and time again. Because that's how you make it on defense. You got to be able to stop the run. You got to be able to rush the quarterback. So I think every class we have, you're going to see a lot of D linemen.
Curious more about Joe Griffin. What makes him special? What was it like recruiting him close to home?
Yeah, that was a challenge too. I mean, he had, I know Notre Dame came in real hard multiple times, but I think Joe's the best athlete in the state, and I really do believe that. He might be the best football player in Massachusetts right now. I mean, he is big, he's long, he's athletic, he can jump, he's got incredible hands, he's so competitive. You saw him, he had the interception at the end in the game in Gillette to win the game for his team. We're not going to play him on defense, even though I'd love to. But he gives you one of those big, tall guys who can go. And a credit to him for choosing to stay home. Family will get to see him play. Dad's been awesome in the process. We had a great visit with the mom. Really excited about Joe. I think, like I said, he may be the best football player, at least the best athlete in Massachusetts right now. Big time future for him.
Along those same lines, just some of the other guys you grabbed from home, and what did you kind of learn about Massachusetts football that you might not have known or seen, not being able to talk to these kids in person for 2 years?
You can get, I always heard you're going to get your linemen. I don't agree with that. We got Ish from Everett, right? Matt Reagan, Jack Funk. So we got a mixture of big guys, and we got athletes. Ish is going to be a wide receiver for us. Big, strong, twitched up. Again, another local guy. Tough, great kid, great family. Matt Reagan, long. I mean, wait until you see this guy. Wait until he gets in the college weight room. He's got a chance to be a great tight end. And then Funk. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever seen this guy. I mean, one of the recruits thought he was a parent on the official visit. I mean, he looks like he's been picking up cars and working out. This guy's enormous. His neck is about as big as my shoulder width. So you can get your athletes like Joe and Ish, and then you can go and get your linemen too and your tight ends. The whole key is to do a great job of evaluating those players. And I think the staff did a great job, and will continue to.
Coach, the process of that, of just getting roots down too, especially where it was virtual last year, how difficult was that? And once you were able to get back out on the road, getting the assistants out into regions positions, how did that all kind of develop?
It's still hard because I haven't been out on the road enough, right? So I had 2 weeks. I really had 8 days, Monday through Thursday to go out on the road. And I had to try to get in all the homes of these 21 players. And some I couldn't get into yet, and I will in January. And was I able to hit every local school? No. Do I want to? Yes. So what I'm going to do is, when I'm allowed to go back on the road in January, I'm going to try to get out locally and hit all those schools that I haven't been in yet myself. I've sent a lot of coaches to them, but I want to get into them. I don't want to meet all these coaches because I haven't had a chance to do that yet. And I'm going to spend a lot of time in January, more local, and try to do a better job of that.
And nationally, how difficult is it too, just with the sheer volume of high school players to transition to getting back out on the road and knowing where you have to go and setting all that up?
Well, that's the hard part, is just getting there. You know, I had to literally, there was one day I was on 3 flights. You know, I was going from Georgia to Tampa, back to Maryland, you know, to Dallas. I was everywhere. It was 8 days of being on a lot of planes. I probably still look tired because of that. The coaches on a lot of planes in 2 weeks, but it's worth it. So it's not hard finding them because you can just watch the film. But once you have to go out and see them, you know, it requires effort. You spend you're in a different hotel room every single night, and you're busy and you're grinding. So again, give the staff credit. Those guys did a great job. They really did a good job.
Just kind of jumping off that, being your first in-person year, what did it mean to be able to finally talk to families and players in person, and how much does that personal connection go into establishing your culture and choosing a class?
I think that's a great question, and I think that's more valuable than anyone has any idea. When you get to know the family and you get to sit down in the living room, you just really feel a connection, right? And now I almost feel like, you know what else is really hard, I've realized? We had the senior banquet the other night, and because of COVID, I haven't even been able to meet every parent on our team. And that's hard, and I apologized at the senior banquet. Literally, the first thing I said was, I'm sorry if I have not met you in person yet. There's a lot of people I haven't been able to meet because of COVID. We're still dealing with it. So to get in the homes and meet the parents or the siblings of those players we're gonna bring in, because it's gonna take all of us, right? You're gonna have good days, bad days. We need to lean on each other. And I feel like I built that relationship with them. And if you continue to do that year after year, I just think it makes everything so much better. Because I want the families to be part of this. I want them to go on those journeys with us. I want them to celebrate outside the gates when we walk out. I want them to see that we've taken their child from a freshman to a senior with one of the best degrees in the country, winning games, developing, having a good time, and making their dreams come true and sharing that with them. And I feel like we've started that process by me being able to get out and see them, or at least having them come here, which we weren't even able to do. This was the first official visits we were really allowed to do. So it was awesome. And I think that helps our staff because we have a great group of guys that can connect with people and that truly care about people as a whole, not just a football player.
Jeff, the coaches at St. John Bosco say that Rizz Hall is a lot like Jade Woodby. Do you agree with that, and what do you see from Rizz?
Yeah, we're waiting until you guys meet him. I don't know if some of you guys saw him when he was here. You were at practice, so you might have. He's already 210 pounds. Like Woodby, kind of plays with an edge. Like Woodby's you guys have met Jaden, right? Great kid, very respectful, really polite, always doing extra work. I think that's a huge compliment. Jaden Woodby is surprised he's not in here right now. And if that's how Rizz is gonna be, look out. Because he plays with violence and he's nasty. And he is already big and can run. And off the field, he is a phenomenal human being. Smart kid from one of the best football programs in the entire country. That's a great program, really well coached. I spent a lot of time there in 2019. I've heard about them my whole life, so really excited about him. I could go on this list, guys. I feel like I know all these kids. Really good football players, great people. They're gonna work. I'm really excited about this group of guys.
Coach, the international signings, you talk about the travel and all that. Have you had guys down, in Australia?
No, I wish I would have been the first on the plane.
So is it mostly just tape-based?
Yeah, it was tape-based, and then we FaceTimed yesterday when he signed, because yesterday was really signing day for him. Yesterday's today.
Yeah.
It's already tomorrow over there, however that works. So he's got the accent. I'm excited to see how he kicks, I wish we got to go to Australia. That just would have taken forever.
Just in general, though, but he signed an international player. I assume it's mostly all tape-based?
Yeah, it's tape-based. We never got out there to evaluate him. But Edwin, he actually is here, so he played close by, so we were able to eval him. But no, we didn't get down there.
Coach, the staff, and I'm sure they're all, they all played a big role last year in getting everything virtually, setting things up virtually. How did they transition to the in-person stuff this year, and what have they meant to this whole process? Just the entire staff that no one sees that all work behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's so many of them. Where there's guys like Jason Kwan and Joe Sullivan and Hannah and Kurtzy and Josh and then there's Jason and his staff, and then there's Cameron. There's so many people that are involved when you get into this, especially when they come on campus. And we have faculty members talk to them, right? We have deans of the business school talk to them. They all play a part of it. It's huge. It's bigger than you can ever think. And then there's our players get involved now with the official visits. I mean, we have Phil like volunteer to come to 2 dinners and hang out. He wants to bring in great players. Our kids want to bring in great players. They're a huge part of this. And then again, give the credit to our coaches who not only spend time evaluating the tape, but then developing those relationships, right? And for every 2 or 3 kids that they each signed, there was 50 other that they did. And maybe they didn't get 40 of them. And you get frustrated, but you keep moving on, you go and fight the good fight. And that's what I told you guys when we first got here. I told the staff to go fight. And whether that's to try to flip a kid from Florida, beat Notre Dame on it, go fight the real fights. And then let's end up with 21 of them after we fight. And don't worry about the ones you didn't get, right? Forget about those guys. But that's what we did. And then those guys get on the road, and they're all over the place, and in homes and in schools, and develop relationships with the coaching staffs. It's only going to get better as we are together. And I think that's key. We got great coaches who are great recruiters and great people. And it shows. I mean, this is a really good class, and we're not done.
So that was kind of building off of that. Sorry, building off of that with when you say the number or the rankings, I should say. The rankings are there. I'm sure you have seen them and where your staff lies. How do you kind of balance all right, this guy's a 3-star, this guy's a 4-star versus what the tape sees you versus how you project it? That whole evaluation process. Given that this class was pretty highly regarded.
Yeah, I respect the stars. I really respect the people who work at those companies that give the stars. I don't look at the stars until afterward. I don't. When I watch the tape, I don't want to know who's recruiting the kid. I don't want to know who's offered the kid, and I don't want to know how many stars there are. Because despite what every coach is going to tell you, as soon as you tell me that stuff, it's going to influence me somehow. And our process is, our recruiting people get the tape, they watch the tape, position coach gets it, if he likes it, gives it to the coordinator, if the coordinator likes it, I get it. And I've watched every single kid we've offered. And that's literally hours of sitting in my office watching them. And I don't want to know, because I don't care. Because there's 2-star guys that turn out to be professional football players, and there's 4-star guys who turn out to not play college football. So I want coaches, I want them to stand on a table and be convicted. I want Matt Applebaum to be convicted about an O-lineman, and Sean Duggan to be convicted about a linebacker. So convicted because they got to coach them, right? Like they shouldn't want to bring in a guy so they look good because of stars. They should bring in a guy because they know this guy's going to play, and I'm going to be a damn good coach because I can train and develop him, and he can play football. And that's more important than anything to me. So I respect all of that. I'm never going to say anything bad about it. I'm not going to tell you I don't look at it, because I do. Any coach who's telling you that they don't look at stars at all is probably lying to you. I look at them after the fact. But to make my judgment and my opinion on a player, I want to watch the tape, because I see better than I hear.
Sorry. Before you guys book flights, do you kind of put together a short list? Academics, character.
Yes. Before we even recruit or offer a kid, Rich, I want his transcript. I want to know what his high school coach says about him. Because if a kid's transcript doesn't fit here, we can't recruit him. And if a kid's character doesn't fit here, I don't want to recruit him. So that goes into it before we even offer a kid or recruit a kid. And I mean really recruit him. I mean get into where he's on a visit, get into it where we go and see him. That is all vetted before we even get deep on a kid.
You talked about winning battles. One of those was Amari Jackson.
Yeah.
He's the DB on here. I know you love DBs. What do you see from him, and what was that process like getting him?
That wasn't an easy one. We were fighting off a few teams really late. One wanted him to official visit this past weekend, an SEC team that I respect. And Coach Azar, I thought, did a phenomenal job. I went out 2 weeks ago and saw him and his family. Coach Azar went out again this weekend. I think he's going to be a star. I mean, he is a twitched up, good-sized kid who can run, cover. He's got ball skills. He's tough. He can catch the ball. He can probably play offense or defense. Eventually, he might do both down the road. That's how talented I think he is. When he called me today and he had signed, that was probably one of the loud. I'm a DB guy, so that's probably as loud as I've screamed in a long time. Especially because I felt like that one was a fight to the end. And those are the fights I'm talking about. Those are the most rewarding ones. And credit to Coach Azar and our staff and him. That kid's a great kid, and he's going to be a great player.
Coach, you talk about winning fights, and in 2 years now, or just about 2 years that you've been here, it feels like you've gone through more than a head coach does in 20 years. When you now realize you've been here for 2 years, what does that kind of register with you, or does it register?
That I've been here for 2 years already.
Yeah, or just in general, kind of how, everything you've been through, how it's gone.
I feel like I just got here. I feel like this was my first year really being the head coach because of COVID. That first year, I mean, it was like make-believe, right? Cardboard fans, Zoom. You're waiting for a recruit to walk out of a car that you've already signed and don't even know how big he is yet. Like, I look back on some of that tape right now and see, it's like, did we really live through that? But then again, it just makes me so grateful for the type of kids that we have to be able to get through what we did. And now to sit here with our first real in-person recruiting class, it's starting to feel real. And the cool part is I'm going to be here for a long time now. And with these recruiting classes back to back, I think the future is bright. And I think we're doing it the right way with great people, with high school football players to develop, to try to make this consistently a winning program.
I gotta ask, did you have a favorite road trip, food, something?
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I don't even know if I sat down and had lunch. I might have had dinner one time. You just get so busy where you just forget to eat. So you just throw a bunch of snacks in your bag and you go. Now, sometimes when you get to the recruit's house at night, they feed you pretty good meals. That's like, thank God, I can barely stand up right now. And there's a couple times I sat down, they're like, do you want anything to eat? I'm like, please, anything you have in this house, I'll eat right now. So those were good moments. But my best trip, I don't know. When I landed at Tampa at like 10:30 at night. I walked off the plane, it was like 58 degrees. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm finally in Tampa and it's 58 degrees. I was like, what are we doing here? It's a blur right now, but great people and it was fun.
It's like a rock concert almost. You get the need to get the tour bus.
Yeah, it is not. It is. If that's the life of a rock star, I'm glad I'm a football coach. I think being a rock star would be way cooler.
All set, everybody?
Cool.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.